We are making garlic beef tips and gravy in under 20 minutes. It's a crowd favorite and you are going to love it. Today I'm going to show you how I make my garlic beef tips and gravy, and I'm going to talk you through how you can do this quick style like I'm doing today and really what I prefer. Or if you want to slow cook it, I'm going to give you some ratios, I'm going to give you different cuts of meat to use, and I'm telling you it's delicious. It takes a handful of ingredients and it is so good. Spooned over mashed potatoes or rice or buttered noodles, you cannot go wrong. It is a classic for a reason. Everyone loves it. I'm going to show you how I make it. I'm using, for the quick version, you want to use some sirloin. I love sirloin because cooked properly, it's tender, it's delicious, it's not too fatty, so you want to make sure that you're not going to overcook this, otherwise you run the risk of this being really dry, and we don't want that. So I cut them in about 1-inch cubes, I'd say. And I'm going to set this aside. If you were doing this slow cooked style, don't use a sirloin because it's cheaper than you need it to be. Use like a top round and cut it into cubes just like how I'm doing now. The only difference is we're going to cook one much quicker than the other. If you were doing a top round, you would want to cook it low and slow to really develop a really nice, soft, delicious, mouth-watering beef tip. And then you just add a bit more beef stock to make more of a simmering sauce broth gravy situation, because you're going to need it to simmer for a long time. But this is a quick version and it's delicious. It's perfect if you've got after school activities or you're busy at work and you want to eat something hearty and delicious but you don't have much time. This is when something like this comes in handy. I'm using about 1.5 pounds and I'm just going to chop it all into bite-sized pieces. To your beef, you want to salt and pepper this really well. You can see the beef is pretty dry. If there's any liquid in the packaging, just dry it up so that your beef gets a really good sear. You're going to add some salt. I'm going to shut it around so that it gets coated. A little garlic and herb, my favorite. You know, I put it in everything because it does make everything better, and this is my favorite, and I always have it linked for you in the description. I get this on Amazon or at Costco when they do have it. It's worth every penny because it's that good. And then you're going to add just a sprinkle of flour. The flour does two things. It helps give you a really lovely texture and coating on the beef, and it gets really crusty and golden brown and delicious. And it also helps thicken the sauce because we're not using any au jus packs. We're not using any gravy packs. We're just going to use some fresh garlic, some fresh herbs, a little wine, a little beef stock, and it's perfect every single time. And you see how I'm adding the flour and I'm really coating the beef. I want to do that. I want to make sure that the beef isn't sort of, oh, whoa, I lost a piece. Flying around, flying beef. I'll make sure the beef is well coated like that. I've got a large skillet here. I like using my non-stick for the quick cook version because I don't want anything to stick, obviously, because it's not cooking that long. And I'm going to cook these in 2 batches because I do not want the beef. I want the beef to get really beautiful color and sear. I don't want it to steam. So you can see I'm giving it some space in between each one. And one of the keys, and I get this asked all the time, and how I keep my meat nice and juicy, is I don't overcook it. High heat, plenty of fat so that your steak doesn't stick. And then just cook it long enough to grab some color. It's not going to be cooked all the way through. It shouldn't be cooked all the way through. You're working with sirloin. You don't want it to be. And again, just giving it space to do what it's got to do, and then just keeping an eye on it and tossing it. This is only going to take about 2 to 3 minutes to get evenly, like deeply colored. And once it's there, I'm going to remove it. Look at the color of that steak, okay? And let me tell you something. It is in part that flour. Now you can tell it's a little bit pinker than it needs to be, but that's because we're going to toss it in the gravy in the last minute or two, and it's going to finish cooking through just enough to take the edge off, but it's still going to be bouncy and delicious and juicy and just so good. I went ahead and chopped up quite a few cloves of garlic because these are very garlicky beef tips after all. Add them right in. You don't need any additional fat at this point. Well, I don't, but if you do, just add another drizzle of olive oil. And I'm just gonna cook this about a minute or so. It won't take very long. I like non-stick because then you don't run the risk of burning the flour on the outside of your beef, and then that just gets really bitter. You're gonna have to clean your pot and start over. and I'm really not in the mood to do that. Just gonna cook this like another 30 seconds. Splash of Pinot. If you are doing this slow cooker style, you can omit the wine altogether. You can also do red wine instead, like a dry red wine instead. And if you do that, just add a splash of Worcestershire. I'm not going to because I'm using white wine, so it's a little bit brighter. It's a little bit more, it gives you a little bit more acidity in my opinion. And I'm just gonna let this cook and reduce by about half. And then I'm gonna add my beef stock. Add your beef stock. And now this needs to just reduce by about half. You need about a cup or so of beef stock. Let that reduce by half. When it's there, we're gonna add the finishing touches. The only thing I'm gonna do right now is clean a little bit and grab some parsley and get that chopped up so that we are that much closer to dinner. Let me teach you a great trick. You can see my sauce is really nice. It's reduced for sure, but I want it thicker. So I'm gonna take 2 pats of butter, about, oh, a little, the paper's still on that one. You don't want that. You roll it around in flour. There's a French word for this. Don't ask me what it is. I forgot. You're gonna add it to this. It's not gonna give you any lumps. It's not gonna give you any weird textures. It is going to melt and it is going to thicken the gravy and it is gonna give you a really luscious, delicious sauce. There's just something about that cold butter hitting the flour that you can see. There is no flour lumps anywhere. The lumps that you're seeing are garlic. And almost immediately you can see that the sauce is thickening, right? It's changing texture, it's thickening. You can really see it around this side over here. Once it really starts to pull away nicely, we're gonna add the beef back in. Don't add it too early on because you'll run the risk of overcooking the beef. The beef is only gonna be in this pool of brothy deliciousness for like a minute. And look what's happening. Like you can really see it's starting to thicken. The consistency is changing. And then when you add the beef in with the drippings that have collected in the bottom of the skillet, at the bottom of the bowl, the flour on the beef is going to just further thicken and enrichen that gravy. And it is just phenomenal. Let that go for like a minute, high heat. Once everything bubbles together, it comes together like that. We've got parsley ready. We've got bellies ready to go. Look at this. You see it? Look at that. I mean, it's gorgeous. It's begging. Look at that. It's begging for a base of something creamy and rich and luxe. I added a little bit of parsley. I'm adding a little bit more because I want that little bit of freshness, not just as, you know, a decoration, if you will, but as an ingredient. Look at that gravy goodness right there. If that does not excite you, then honestly, I don't know what to tell you, because it excites me, okay? I'm gonna put it on this white plate so that you can see that texture that we're working with. I will agree with you, because I know you're thinking it. Not the most beautiful thing to photograph. Certainly not the kind of thing that you stare at and you go, oh, that is such a beautiful masterpiece. But foodies will know that this is elite. When someone who knows food sees that rich looking gravy and that texture, you just know it's gonna be amazing. The beef, so tender. So tender. And cut it with a fork. You can see it's still slightly pink. If I can get a piece, well, it's hard to see. Still slightly pink, which is perfect. 10 out of 10. Go to laurainthekitchen.com for the written recipe. You want to make this, trust me, it'll become a staple on your dinner table. Hope you enjoy spending time with me, and I will see you in the next one. Bye-bye.